David Moore, Dallas Morning News. Since we were just talking about Deuce Vaughn, I know you said in the offseason you and Brian were kind of putting together packages and kind of imagining how you could use him. What have you seen from him since you've worked with him day in, day out here in camp? And after having a better handle of what he can do, have you changed some of those packages or your initial thoughts on how it could be used?
I mean, exactly how we want to use our players, including Deuce. I mean, that's really what this week will give us. But I tell you, I mean, he's done a really nice job, really just operating in the flow of the installs. It isn't like we had a separate game plan for him against Jacksonville or Seattle. So and we'll take the same approach once we get to the end of the week, as far as how we're going to play the Raiders. But no, I think he's done an outstanding job, and it's just like anything, and it's a part of the beauty of these preseason games. You give these young guys an opportunity, you see what they do, and he's obviously played very big with his opportunities.
Clarence Hill, Forward Star Telegram. We talked a lot about Jalen Reagor's second-year jump. Have you seen a player make this type of jump? I mean, it's from night and day from last year to this year.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's almost every year. I mean, his is significant. I agree with you. But part of his significance was his limited opportunities. So some of it wasn't really in his control. If you go back to the training camp last year, he was held off of special teams because we were anticipating him to do some other things, and he had the hamstring injury. So not only did the hamstring get him, put him behind, but then the lack of special teams opportunities, and then when you get down to the 53 to the 48 transition that you go through every week, special teams factors. So so part of that was the opportunities wasn't there, but he's playing with a lot more confidence. He's stronger. I mean, he was definitely one of the guys that was in the weight room, day one, and stayed here the whole time. So I really liked the way he played against Seattle. I thought he took a step, and he's I hope to give him more opportunities this week.
Mike Todd Archer of ESPN. Marquise Bell, where have you seen his biggest change?
Confidence, versatility. I felt that he jumped out last year on special teams, so he's continued there. But the command that he has, and I think when you look at our safety groups, I mean, we have such an elite veteran group of safeties, and not only are they they set the standard there, but they're great role models for the younger safeties, and I think all those guys, starting with Bell, have really grown there. The confidence and the the specifics of playing multiple positions. Versatility and special teams, I think he's taken a huge jump.
Thought, yeah, Mike, throughout your career, how have you managed expectations of players chosen in the first round, kind of the pressure that comes with it, and the patience that's required for them to acclimate to the NFL?
Well, I think like everything in this league, I mean, you got to have a program. Your program has resources. You have internal resources, external resources, and then you really got to understand each and every player. I mean, and how they're wired and what they need. And just like anything in life, there's a difference between need and wants. So I think we do a really good job of giving everybody what they want as far as the basics of how we operate. But yeah, I've always just believed being very practical. I understand, in this league, we all know the stress that goes with a first round pick and versus a third round pick and so forth. But to me, the draft selection's always just been the starting line, and that's all it really is. Because once they get going, the draft picks do get to stand in front of the line. They do maybe get the first opportunity, and you're going to give them more opportunities because of the financial investment you already have in them. I mean, that's common sense business, common sense practice in this league. But at the end of the day, we're playing the game of football, and the development of each individual is critical. But how they fit in with the group too. So don't really spend a whole lot of time on it. Past the initial introduction phase, because everybody's just trying to be better every day, and that's really the clarity of the expectation.
Joe Trahan, WFAA. Mike, without giving away who's going to play this week, because we know that doesn't happen until Thursday.
Yeah.
But I am curious about your philosophy with playing veterans and how you came about, treating it the way that you do. Was it a particular, preseason? Where did it come from?
Well, I've lost players. I lost my starting left tackle in the family night scrimmage, so I know what that looks like back in 2012. So yeah, so it's really risk assessment. I mean, there's pros and cons of playing them. There's pros and cons of not playing them. There's pros and cons of practicing against another team. There's pros and cons of not. So I mean, just understanding how it all fits together. But I think the other part of it is, where are you as a team? What are you trying to get done? Do you have a veteran group you believe in? This is year 3 for a lot of our group. So we're further along clearly on defense than we've been. So I mean, I have great confidence in that part of it. Offensively, my only focal point from as I move forward is to get the starting offensive line together. Tomorrow's team practice will be the first time we'll have the 5 starters in a team period. So just staying in tune with that. But yeah, I mean, I think we're all product of our experiences, and I've seen it work both ways. But I think the risk assessment is, and maybe when you get older, you do get a little more conservative. I don't know that, but and I just think common sense needs to prevail. But I think you got 32 teams, and not everybody does it exactly the same way. So that's really the answer to it. But I just always, where's my team at? Now, if we were just all brand new young, if I was back in 2006, 2007. We would play in all 3 games. We'd play 25 in the first game, play the first half in the second game, and played into the third quarter in the third game. So I've done that format, So, but this format works for us.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Mike, Stephen Jones said earlier that Jalen Tolbert had, with his emergence, locked down the number 4 wide receiver in the depth chart. Do you agree with his assessment in terms of how his leap is?
I'm not really there, depth charts. I couldn't even tell you what it looks like right now. That's a PR thing, frankly. But Jalen's doing a heck of a job. Really proud of the strides that he's made, because you don't line up with 11 starters in this league. I mean, we're going to play as many personnel groups as we possibly can. And, at the end of the day, when we line up against the Giants, the 48 players that'll be active will dictate who plays and where they're at in the depth chart. But I clearly understand where Stephen is coming from. But I'm still, I got bigger numbers in my head right now.
Scott Dixon with the AP. But on Tolbert once more, how you've talked a lot about how he's emerged. How has that emergence kind of affected your view of the receiver group as a whole?
Well, we were counting on it. I mean, we were never down on JT, so this is not like this is no surprise. I mean, I think it was, and I think you go back a little bit to your question earlier about the draft picks. Yes, I mean, when they come in the door, the expectation. So you do try to give them opportunities. Things happen. Things happen, and maybe it doesn't go as quickly as you'd like. So, I mean, I'm more satisfied for him because I know how much pressure he puts on himself and how important it is to him. And I go back to last year as a rookie. I mean, I had an opportunity to meet with JT in private meetings on a Sunday night, 2 back-to-back weeks, and so I've seen his playbook. I've seen the detail that he puts into this too. But but it's all part of the development. Everybody has a little different starting line. They don't all come in here with the same starting line. I think last year he was trying so hard to do it right by the letter of the law and by the way it was drawn and so forth. Now he's playing football. He's not just running the lines. He has full understanding, his instincts, awareness, and all that. And it's it's a credit to him, but it's a credit to all the extra time these guys play together. I can't tell you how proud I am of our players that 5 weeks that we're away from each other, how much time they spent together. That's huge. You can't be successful in the league without it. I mean, that's the nature of how you train a football team today. So, and he is front of the line. He hasn't missed a workout.
Brian Ryan, Sports Illustrated Fan Nation. Jerry just shared his super excitement for Ozzie Smith, specifically to play against the 49ers. What have you seen out of Ozzie, and where do you think he's improved the most since arriving?
Getting better. Getting better with each opportunity. He's obviously has a lot of confidence. Has a lot of ability. But he's playing on a veteran defense. I mean, and I think they've done a great job taking him under their wing. But yeah, he's doing very well. He's off to a good start.
Nichols.
Patrick Walker, DallasCowboys.com. A couple questions, both regarding Luke Schoonmaker. One, how do you gauge his progress so far from his return from injury? And also, with the absence of John Stevens, does that organically create more work for him, or are you guys going to stick to a pre-existing plan for school?
Luke, boy, just real excited about what he's done. Just because obviously he didn't have any work in the spring and missed the beginning of training camp. But boy, he's done a really nice job, with his play time in both Jacksonville and Seattle. So excited about him to continue. Very instinctive, very aware. Football's comes natural to him. You can tell he's played a lot of ball. He's played multiple positions. Been in a pro system. He has a really good feel for the game. So he just just like everybody, we can't get enough work in the pass pro and the run blocking part of it, just because you just don't have as many reps as we all would need. But those are the little things that he needs. But I think he's done an excellent job for the limited number of opportunities he's had. And Jonathan, both are rookies. I mean, it was so disappointing to get the news, of the MRIs. And you talk about two young men that have come in here and just really were having a heck of a training camp and both impactful. So, we just got to support them and give them everything they need and, make this year worthwhile and they'll come out of this stronger. But, Jonathan was, he was having a really, really good camp. A lot of big moments that he had in Oxnard.
Last one, David. Has Brandon Cook offered to take you up in a plane yet? And what's your overall policy on private players? Yes.
Well, I think first thing he told me as a Saracen has a parachute, so that gave me some confidence. To me, this is and maybe it's just the places I've worked. I go back to the '90s. I mean, Marty Schottenheimer had a plane. Joe Montana, had a plane. Jimmy Graham, had Jimmy up there in Green Bay for a year. Had a so this is not the first time I've been exposed to it. Now, obviously, I'd like I don't know about taking the whole crew up with you, but but I mean, Brandon's someone you definitely would trust, and you can see that they obviously trust him, and just in a short time he's been here. So, but I saw the video. I'm not going to tell exactly what I said, but he'll do fine.
Have you talked to him about it at all?
Oh yeah, I visit with him. Yeah. In a good way. Yeah, I mean, these guys know what they're doing. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Mike.
Thank you.